Welcome to World Information HD, your gateway to uncovering the most fascinating stories hidden in history's corners. In today's video, we dive into the world of numismatics to count down the top 10 most valuable and rare U.S. Roosevelt dimes, those tiny 10-cent coins striking millions in value. From minting errors to ultra-rare proof specimens, we'll reveal which dimes are worth fortunes and why they captivate collectors worldwide. Let's get started. Today, we're diving deep into one of the smallest yet most fascinating coins in U.S. history, the 1981 Roosevelt dime. You might look at it and think, it's just 10 cents. But what if I told you that this tiny piece of metal could be worth more than you ever imagined? Sit tight, because by the end of this video, you'll learn why this little silver-colored dime has become one of the most talked-about coins among collectors, and how some lucky people have discovered it hiding right in their pocket change. The 1981 Roosevelt dime was minted in Denver. That's what the small D mint mark stands for, located just above the date on the coin's obverse side. To most people, this coin looks ordinary, but in reality, it hides a number of secrets. It represents the end of an era and the beginning of a new one in U.S. coin production. During this period, the U.S. Mint was transitioning its machinery, changing its die-making techniques, and facing production challenges that would eventually lead to some unexpected and extremely valuable varieties of coins. The dime itself features a portrait that we all recognize, President Franklin D. Roosevelt, designed by John R. Sinek in 1946. This design was introduced shortly after Roosevelt's death, honoring his leadership and his dedication to the March of Dimes, a campaign that helped fight polio. But what makes the 1981 dime so interesting isn't just its design or its symbolism. It's the small variations and minting anomalies that have made it one of the most collectible coins from the late 20th century. Let's start by taking a closer look at the details. The obverse side of the coin shows Roosevelt facing left, with the word Liberty arching along the left edge. Below his chin, the national motto, "In God We Trust," is stamped, and on the right side, you'll find the mint mark, D, followed by the date, 1981. The reverse side features a torch in the center, symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch on one side and an oak branch on the other. Above it, you'll see the words, United States of America, and below, 1 dime. But not all 1981 Roosevelt dimes were created equal. Some of these coins have errors so rare that they've shocked even experienced coin collectors. One of the most famous is the die clash error, where the front and back dies strike each other without a planchet between them, leaving faint outlines of the reverse design visible on the obverse side. Another fascinating variety is the off-center strike, where part of the design is missing because the coin blank wasn't properly aligned during minting. The more off-center the design, while still showing the date and mint mark, the higher the value. Collectors also prize dimes with strong die doubling, where letters or numbers appear to be shadowed or doubled due to die misalignment. A doubled die 1981 dime showing clear doubling in the word Liberty or the date could be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars depending on its condition. Then there are planchet errors, where a dime might have been struck on a blank meant for another denomination, for example, a penny or a foreign coin planchet. These errors are incredibly rare and command sky-high prices when authenticated by professional grading services. Now, let's talk about something most collectors overlook, the condition of the coin. In the world of numismatics, condition is everything. The grading scale runs from poor P1 to perfect mint state, MS70. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin becomes. For example, a typical circulated 1981 dime might be worth its face value, 10 cents. But if you find one in uncirculated condition, with a bright luster and no scratches, it could already be worth several dollars. However, when a coin is professionally graded as MS67 or higher, meaning it's nearly flawless, that's where the real value begins. Such coins are usually preserved carefully in rolls, sets, or forgotten drawers. Over time, even a slight imperfection can dramatically change the price. For collectors, the 1981 dime represents a hidden opportunity, It's common enough to find in circulation, but the right combination of condition and mint era could make it extraordinarily valuable. Another detail that drives its worth is full torch strike, also known as FT designation by grading services like NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. A full torch dime means that the vertical and horizontal lines on the torch are fully visible and sharply struck, a sign of a perfect die impression. Many 1981D dimes lack this sharpness, making those with a full torch significantly more desirable to collectors. Over the years, stories have surfaced about people discovering valuable 1981D Roosevelt dimes in their change jars or inherited coin collections. One collector from Colorado shared that he found a near-perfect specimen in a bag of unsearched coins. After submitting it for grading, it came back as MS-68 with full torch, a grade so rare that only a handful exist. The coin later sold at auction for thousands of dollars, astonishing everyone who believed modern coins couldn't fetch such prices. But what truly adds intrigue to the 1981D dime is how it marks a transitional moment in U.S. minting history. The early 1980s were a time of experimentation, changes in die composition, striking pressure, and even the copper-nickel alloy formula. These subtle modifications sometimes produced coins with slight color variations, different surface textures, or faint mint marks. Some 1981D dimes even appear to have weak D mint marks, where the letter looks faint or partially struck, another detail that makes certain examples more desirable to specialized collectors. There's also a small but fascinating niche of collectors who focus on toned coins, coins that have naturally developed colorful surfaces over time due to oxidation. A 1981D dime with beautiful rainbow toning, shades of blue, gold, or purple, can fetch far more than one in ordinary condition. These colors aren't defects, they're natural chemical reactions that create unique one-of-a-kind patterns, almost like fingerprints of history. The 1981D dime's value also depends on market demand. When demand for Roosevelt dimes rises, prices of high-grade examples can skyrocket. The interest in Roosevelt dimes has increased significantly over the last decade, as more collectors have begun assembling complete date and mint mark sets. This surge of attention means even coins from the 1980s are getting reevaluated and reappraised, especially those that have survived in pristine, untouched condition for over 4 decades. Let's not forget that Denver, where the 1981D dime was produced, had one of the highest minting outputs of that year, over 563 million dimes. With such a massive production, you might think none could be rare. But high quantity doesn't always mean low value. When you consider how many of those coins have been lost, damaged, or circulated heavily, the number of surviving near-perfect examples becomes surprisingly small. That's what drives their collectible worth, scarcity in top condition. For anyone hoping to find one of these treasures, here's what to look for. Check for doubling on the date, mint mark, and inscriptions. Examine the torch on the reverse. If all lines are crisp and complete, that's a full torch strike. Look for unusual color tones or missing mint marks. Inspect the edges. Sometimes mint errors can appear as partial reading or misaligned edges. If you suspect your coin is special, have it graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC to confirm its authenticity and condition. Many coin enthusiasts often underestimate how much patience and attention to detail it takes to find valuable modern coins like the 1981D dime. But remember, every great collector started somewhere, usually by looking closely at the change in their pocket or an old jar of coins kept by grandparents. Some of the most valuable coins in U.S. history were discovered by people who simply paid attention. The Roosevelt dime may be small, but its history is vast. It's a coin that symbolizes American resilience, minted in the spirit of a leader who inspired a nation to overcome hardship. And the 1981D version, in particular, captures a turning point, when traditional minting methods met modern production technology. That makes it more than just a coin. It's a piece of history you can hold between your fingers. If you ever come across a shiny 1981D Roosevelt dime, don't ignore it. Welcome to World Information HD, the channel where we uncover the most fascinating facts about rare coins hiding in plain sight. Today, we're diving deep into the story of one small but powerful coin, The United States of America 1981 P. Roosevelt 1 dime. A coin that many people see every day, yet very few realize could be worth a fortune. Sit back, relax, and let's explore the untold secrets, the rich history, and the jaw-dropping value behind this tiny silver-colored coin that might be sitting right now in your pocket, purse, or coin jar. The Roosevelt dime is one of the most iconic coins in U.S. history, not just for its design, but for what it represents. It honors the legacy of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, a leader who guided the nation through the Great Depression and World War II. The dime became a lasting tribute to him, symbolizing his fight against polio and his support for the March of Dimes Foundation, a movement that changed millions of lives. But in the year 1981, something unique happened at the Philadelphia Mint. A small production anomaly, combined with limited minting precision and natural coin aging, resulted in certain Roosevelt dimes becoming highly collectible, coins that today could be worth far beyond their face value of just 10 cents. Let's begin with a bit of history. The Roosevelt dime first entered circulation in 1946, just 1 year after Roosevelt's death. Designed by John R. Sinek, the dime featured the left-facing portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse side, along with the word, Liberty, and the national motto, In God We Trust. The reverse featured a torch, symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch for peace and an oak branch for strength. This design hasn't changed much in nearly 80 years, making the 1981 issue part of a continuous American tradition. By 1981, the United States Mint was producing coins at full speed to meet circulation demands. The Philadelphia Mint, marked with the letter P, struck millions of Roosevelt dimes that year. Yet despite their large numbers, certain rare variations and minting errors have turned ordinary-looking dimes into incredibly valuable collector's pieces. Collectors always look for unique details, things like double dies, off-center strikes, missing mint marks, or planchet errors. These small differences might seem insignificant to the untrained eye, but they can transform a common dime into a treasure worth thousands of dollars. So, what makes the 1981 P. Roosevelt dime special? The answer lies in the combination of condition, rarity, and precision of the strike. Coins that were struck perfectly with sharp details and then preserved in pristine condition have fetched extraordinary prices at auctions. Even minor flaws, such as slightly misaligned dies or faint doubling on Roosevelt's features, can skyrocket the coin's desirability among collectors. Let's talk about the metal composition. By 1981, the U.S. dime was no longer made of silver. From 1965 onward, dimes were produced using a clad composition, an inner core of pure copper sandwiched between outer layers of copper nickel. While the silver dimes from pre-1965 remained popular for their precious metal content, the post-1965 clad dimes gained collector interest for a different reason: minting precision. Because these coins were made using advanced machinery, any imperfection or unique characteristic became highly noticeable and therefore collectible. Among the 1981 P. Roosevelt dimes, there are reports of coins with striking errors, some with weak details, others with off-center designs, and even a few with unusual edge reading patterns. These subtle differences are what numismatists, coin experts, hunt for, as they represent minting anomalies that can't easily be replicated. Now imagine this: a coin that was made in 1981, tossed into circulation, and forgotten for decades, only to reappear today in someone's old drawer or piggy bank, holding a value you could never guess just by looking at it. Collectors often describe these discoveries as time capsules. A small piece of metal that has witnessed decades of economic change, yet remains almost untouched by time. The 1981 P. Roosevelt dime, in certain conditions, is exactly that. To truly understand its value, we must explore how coin grading works. Every collectible coin is graded based on its physical condition, from good, G, and fine, F, to mint state, MS. The higher the grade, the higher the value. Coins that are graded MS67, MS68, or higher by professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC are especially prized. These grades indicate that the coin has retained its original luster, sharpness, and beauty from the day it was struck, Now, let's imagine you're holding an uncirculated 1981p Roosevelt dime that gleams under the light, its edges crisp and its design flawless. If this coin also happens to have a rare minting characteristic, such as a double die, a slightly off-center strike, or exceptional surface preservation, it could be worth a small fortune. The story of how collectors discover these valuable coins is fascinating. Many were found accidentally during coin roll hunting, a hobby where people buy rolls of coins from banks and search them for rare variations. Others were discovered in inherited coin collections or from coin dealers who didn't realize their true worth. Each of these stories reminds us that rare treasures can still be found among the most ordinary items. And the 1981p dime is one of those hidden gems. Another interesting detail about 1981 dimes is the transitional era in mint mark styles. Around this time, the U.S. Mint began to refine how mint marks were punched onto dies. This means that subtle differences in the PE mint mark's shape, size, or placement could distinguish one variety from another, and collectors love such distinctions. In addition to minting differences, toning also affects a coin's appeal. Over time, exposure to air, humidity, and different storage materials causes a coin to develop natural colors, shades of blue, gold, or even rainbow patterns. These tones, when attractive and even across the coin's surface, can add significant value. So if you find a 1981p dime with beautiful natural toning, don't clean it. Cleaning a coin can destroy its collectible value instantly. One of the most thrilling parts of coin collecting is the unpredictability. You never know which coin will suddenly skyrocket in demand due to a new discovery or market trend. Some years ago, a collector found a near-perfect 1981p dime that sold for an unexpectedly high price because of its grade and condition. In today's coin market, condition is everything. A circulated dime might only be worth its face value, but an uncirculated, high-grade, or era variety could turn into a life-changing find. That's why experienced collectors always recommend examining your coins under a magnifying glass or using a jeweler's loupe. Look closely at the details: Roosevelt's hairlines, the rim, the torch flames, and the mint mark area. Sometimes, it's the smallest difference that makes the biggest impact. The Roosevelt Dimes series has been in circulation for so long that nearly every household in America has handled one. Yet only a tiny fraction of people realize that certain dimes, especially those from the early 1980s, are now being recognized as collectibles of historic and monetary value. The year 1981 stands out because it marked a period when the mint was transitioning to more modernized production techniques. These shifts occasionally resulted in inconsistent die strikes, subtle differences in relief depth, and other characteristics that make the 1981p dime special in today's numismatic world. So, how can you tell if your dime might be valuable? First, inspect its condition. If the coin still has its original mint luster and shows no signs of wear, it's already worth a closer look. Second, examine the mint mark, the P, carefully. Its shape, location, or alignment could indicate a particular die variety. Third, look for doubling on the letters or numbers, especially in Liberty, in God We Trust, or the date 1981. Finally, have the coin appraised or graded by a professional. A certified grade from a reputable company can dramatically increase a coin's market value. And now comes the part everyone's been waiting for. How much could the rarest and most pristine 1981p Roosevelt dime actually be worth? Among collectors and auction houses, high-grade examples of this coin have fetched astonishing prices. While most 1981p dimes will be worth only a few dollars in circulated condition, an exceptional specimen in near-perfect state, one that displays full strikes, sharp detail, and perfect surfaces, has sold for tens of thousands of dollars at auction. It's incredible to think that something as small and seemingly ordinary as a 10-cent coin can hold such immense value. But that's the magic of numismatics, turning everyday change into hidden treasure. Welcome to World Information HD, the channel where we dive deep into the fascinating world of coins, treasures, and the rarest finds hiding right in your pocket change. Today, we're taking a close look at a small yet incredibly powerful coin, the 1989 Roosevelt dime from the United States of America. It's a coin that most people overlook, one that quietly sits among loose change and old piggy banks, but behind its ordinary appearance lies an astonishing story of rarity, history, and value. So stay tuned until the end, because by the time we finish, you'll realize that even a simple dime could be worth far more than you ever imagined. The Roosevelt dime is one of the most familiar coins in American history. Since its first appearance in 1946, it has carried the proud face of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, the man who led America through the Great Depression and World War II. His portrait was chosen to honor his leadership and his connection to the March of Dimes campaign, which worked tirelessly to fight polio, the very disease Roosevelt himself battled. Now, fast forward to 1989. America was closing out the decade of bold fashion, booming technology, and economic optimism. But for coin collectors, 1989 brought something more subtle, a year that would quietly produce one of the most curious and valuable Roosevelt dimes ever made. At first glance, the 1989 Roosevelt dime seems like any other. It weighs 2.27 grams, is composed of a copper nickel clad over a pure copper core, and measures 17.9 millimeters in diameter. It was struck at the Denver Mint, signified by that small D mint mark just beside Roosevelt's neck. Tens of millions of these dimes were produced for circulation, flooding the economy with what appeared to be completely ordinary coins. But as every seasoned coin collector knows, it only takes a small mistake, a rare minting anomaly, or a unique preservation to turn a regular coin into a treasure. When collectors began inspecting 1989 dimes more closely, they started to notice differences. Subtle variations in the strike, unusual doubling in letters, faint errors in mint marks, and even a few examples struck on the wrong metal planchets. These tiny differences, invisible to most people, are what created a series of rare varieties that today can command thousands of dollars in the collector market. Let's first talk about one of the most famous minting errors, the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank is not properly seated in the press, and the design ends up shifted, leaving part of the coin blank and the rest distorted. Off-center Roosevelt dimes from 1989 with clear visible dates can fetch hundreds of dollars. But that's just the beginning. Another variety worth mentioning is the double die verse, where the design elements, such as the inscriptions, "Liberty in God We Trust," or Roosevelt's profile itself, appear slightly doubled. These happen due to die misalignment during mint preparation, and they're prized among collectors for their rarity. Even minor doubling can make a coin stand out from the rest, but strong doubling on a 1989 D dime can take it to an entirely different level of value. Then there's the no mint mark error. Although the Denver Mint produced millions of coins that year, a few 1989 dimes have been found missing the D mint mark altogether. Such errors are extremely rare, caused when the die was accidentally prepared without engraving the mint mark. Finding one of these is like discovering a hidden gem in a pile of stones. Collectors pay top dollar for such anomalies, especially if the coin is in pristine condition. Speaking of condition, that's where the real money lies. A coin's grade, as determined by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, can make or break its value. Most 1989 D dimes you'll find in circulation are worn out, showing scratches, nicks, and faded details. But those that have survived untouched, kept in mint rolls or sets, are the ones that can surprise you. Imagine finding a 1989 D Roosevelt dime in mint state condition, shining with that original luster, every line on Roosevelt's face crisp and clear, every letter sharp. Coins graded MS-65, MS-66, or higher are incredibly rare for this date, not because the mint didn't produce enough, but because most of them simply never survived in that condition. High-grade examples can easily bring in hundreds of dollars, while those with unique toning or flawless surfaces have sold for thousands. Now, what about proofs or special issues? While the Denver Mint didn't produce proof coins in 1989, that was the job of the San Francisco Mint. Some 1989 D dimes were struck with unusually strong details and mirrored finishes, possibly from freshly prepared dies. These have also been found with fascinating minting flaws such as die cracks and planchet errors, both of which add to their desirability. Let's go even deeper. Some 1989 Roosevelt dimes were mistakenly struck on foreign planchets, or blanks intended for other coins. These minting blunders are incredibly rare, often discovered only by specialists using precision scales. For example, a dime struck on a copper planchet intended for a cent, or a thinner planchet used for a foreign coin, would immediately stand out due to its color, thickness, or weight. Such errors can command staggering amounts at auction because they're one-of-a-kind pieces of minting history. And then there's eye appeal, something that can't be measured by numbers alone. Collectors often fall in love with coins that tell a story, coins with beautiful rainbow toning, ones that developed unique patterns over time due to the natural oxidation of nickel and copper. A 1989 Roosevelt dime with vivid shades of blue, gold, or purple can attract attention far beyond its face value, sometimes even doubling or tripling its worth simply because of its beauty. But perhaps the most fascinating aspect of the 1989 Roosevelt dime is how such a common coin can bridge history, art, and luck. It's a reminder that even the smallest piece of change carries with it a legacy of craftsmanship, precision, and sometimes human error. Now imagine this: you're sorting through an old coin jar, maybe something your grandparents kept on a shelf for decades. You see a bunch of pennies, nickels, and a few dimes that look no different from each other. But one dime catches your eye. The 1989 mark glints in the light a little differently. You take a closer look. Maybe it has a slight off-center strike. Maybe the mint mark looks faint. Maybe it's just exceptionally shiny and perfect. You decide to research it, maybe even send it for grading. And when it comes back, you learn that your ordinary-looking dime isn't ordinary at all. It's a rare mint-state coin, preserved through time, valued by collectors, and suddenly you're holding a piece of American history worth more than you ever expected. That's the thrill of coin collecting, the hidden treasure in your hands that others have overlooked for decades. Every coin tells a story, of the mint that made it, the people who spent it, and the few who recognized its true worth. Throughout the years, several examples of the 1989 Roosevelt dime have appeared in auctions, shocking collectors and investors alike. One such coin, perfectly preserved and graded among the highest mint states, attracted fierce bidding wars. Its flawless surfaces, deep strikes, and near-perfect eye appeal turned it into a collector's dream. The auction houses recorded that one special 1989 Roosevelt dime sold for an unbelievable amount, the kind of price that makes every coin enthusiast check their pockets twice. And that, dear viewers, is what makes this story so remarkable. A dime, worth 10 cents in everyday transactions, rising to the ranks of a treasure simply because of its rarity, perfection, and historical intrigue. So, the next time you handle your change, take a closer look at your dimes. Inspect the dates, the mint marks, and the details. Because what looks like pocket change to one person might be a small fortune to another. Hidden treasures are still out there, and they could be waiting in your hands right now. The 1989 Roosevelt dime is not just a coin, it's a symbol of how something so small can hold immense value when time, rarity, and perfection collide. From minting machines in Denver to collectors' showcases across the world, this coin's journey continues to inspire curiosity and excitement among numismatists everywhere. As we reach the end of this story, remember that collecting isn't just about money, it's about history, art, and discovery. It's about preserving the past and uncovering the unexpected. And for one collector who held on to a flawless example of this beautiful 1989 Roosevelt dime, that patience and passion paid off. Because that single coin, graded in top condition, was sold for an astonishing $34,884. In the world of American coin collecting, there lies a hidden treasure so small it could easily slip through your fingers, yet its story, rarity, and potential value have captured the imagination of collectors across the nation. Today, we're talking about a coin that most people overlook, a coin so common-looking that millions pass it by without a second glance, but one that could be worth a staggering amount if it carries the right traits. This is the story of the United States of America 2000 P Mint Mark Roosevelt 1 dime, a coin minted at the dawn of a new millennium, with mysteries and varieties that have turned it into a modern numismatic legend. The Roosevelt dime, first introduced in 1946, was designed to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his death. His image was chosen not just because of his presidency but also because of his pivotal role in founding the March of Dimes, a campaign to fight polio. What's fascinating is that this small coin, weighing just 2.27 grams and measuring 17.9 millimeters across, carries decades of history, art, and evolving mint technology within its design. By the year 2000, the United States Mint had fully transitioned to modern production methods, using high-speed presses and digital engraving systems. Yet even in this era of precision, mistakes happened. And in the world of coin collecting, mistakes mean opportunity, rare varieties, minting errors, and oddities that transform a dime into a treasure. The 2000p Roosevelt dime was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, identifiable by the small P mint mark located just above the date on the obverse side. Tens of millions of these dimes were produced for circulation, meaning you could still find one in your spare change today. However, among these ordinary coins, a few remarkable examples have surfaced that stun collectors and dealers alike, coins that are nearly flawless, or that feature strange minting errors, and have sold for thousands of dollars at auctions. To understand why some 2000p Roosevelt dimes can be so valuable, we need to look at what makes a coin rare and desirable. There are three key factors collectors always look for: condition, minting errors, and historical significance. Let's start with condition. In the world of numismatics, condition is everything. A coin graded as mint state, especially MS-68 or higher, can command prices exponentially higher than one that's circulated and worn down. The 2000p dime is no exception. While hundreds of millions were made, only a handful remain in pristine, untouched condition, the kind of coin that looks as if it was struck yesterday, with no scratches, no bag marks, and a dazzling, mirror-like shine. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC have evaluated thousands of Roosevelt dimes, but finding a 2000p in MS-68 or higher is extremely difficult. These top-graded coins are often preserved in original mint sets, protected from the wear and tear of circulation. Even then, only a fraction achieve those perfect grades due to tiny imperfections during minting or storage. Next, we have minting errors, the fascinating anomalies that occur when something goes wrong during production. These errors make coins one of a kind and are among the most exciting finds for collectors. Some 2000p Roosevelt dimes have been discovered with off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing because the coin blank wasn't perfectly aligned under the die. Others have double strikes, where the coin was hit twice, creating a ghost-like image or doubling effect. Even more dramatic are clipped planchet errors, where a piece of the coin is missing due to a misfeed in the cutting process. But one of the most intriguing and valuable varieties comes from die errors. The dies used to strike the design into the coin can develop cracks, misalignments, or die fatigue, leading to unique markings or distortions. Collectors often refer to these as cuds, die breaks, or die chips. In some rare 2000p dimes, Roosevelt's profile shows signs of doubling or extra metal flow around the letters, traits that can significantly increase the coin's desirability. There are also cases of missing clad layer errors, where the outer copper-nickel coating failed to bond properly, leaving a coin with a coppery or uneven surface tone. Such pieces are extremely eye-catching and command high bids whenever they appear at auction. Beyond the technicalities of grading and errors, there's another reason the 2000p dime has drawn attention. It marks the first year of the new millennium. Although technically, the 21st century began in 2001, the year 2000 held immense cultural and symbolic significance. It represented change, progress, and the digital future. Many collectors see coins from that year as symbolic time capsules, items that connect the past and the future of American minting. Imagine finding a simple dime in your old coin jar or in an unused roll from a bank that has been sitting untouched since 2000. The surface looks pristine, the P mint mark glimmers under the light, and every line of Roosevelt's face remains sharp and well-defined. You send it for grading, and it comes back as MS-68 full bands, meaning even the tiny lines on the torch on the reverse are fully visible and sharp. Suddenly, you're holding a coin that could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Let's talk about the reverse side of this coin, a design that has remained largely unchanged since its introduction in 1946. The torch represents liberty, the olive branch symbolizes peace, and the oak branch stands for strength and independence. Together, they form one of the most elegant and balanced designs in U.S. coinage. The detail in the leaves, the spacing in the bands of the torch, and the clarity of the inscriptions are what professional graders use to assess strike quality. When a coin has fully struck details, it's a sign of exceptional craftsmanship and preservation, a feature that makes the 2000p dime especially appealing to perfectionist collectors. Some collectors have even reported proof-like business strikes, coins from regular circulation batches that display mirror-like fields and frosted devices, similar to proof coins. While not official proofs, these coins likely came from freshly polished dies and are rare to encounter. The Roosevelt Dimes series as a whole doesn't receive as much attention as the Lincoln cent or the Jefferson nickel, but serious collectors know that some of the most valuable dimes ever sold were Roosevelt dimes. The 1982 no mint mark, for example, fetched thousands of dollars because it lacked the P mark, a rarity for its time. Such errors prove that even a small oversight at the mint can turn an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. So how can you tell if your 2000p dime is worth more than 10 cents? Start by examining it under good lighting and ideally, with a magnifier. Look for sharp details, absence of wear, and any unusual features. If the coin looks like it just left the mint and has no scratches or discoloration, it's worth having it professionally graded. Even small imperfections can drastically affect the final grade, but if yours scores high, you might be surprised at what it's worth. If you suspect you have an error coin, perhaps with a doubled image, off-center strike, or unusual texture, you should also have it authenticated. Coins with verified errors are listed in auction catalogs and numismatic databases, often accompanied by photos and descriptions. Let's not forget that even without dramatic errors, eye appeal can make a huge difference. Coins with natural toning, subtle shades of gold, blue, or violet that form on the surface over time, are particularly sought after. A beautifully toned 2000p dime in top condition could easily catch the attention of collectors who appreciate visual uniqueness as much as rarity. The story of this coin is a reminder that history, art, and technology all intersect in the smallest objects. The Roosevelt dime was born out of gratitude to a leader who inspired hope during one of America's darkest times. Over the decades, it evolved from silver to copper nickel, from simple engraving to computer-assisted precision, and yet its spirit remains the same. And when a single coin from this series, struck at the Philadelphia Mint in 2000, emerges in flawless form or with an extraordinary minting error, it becomes a tiny time capsule of American craftsmanship, a link between generations of collectors. Think of the millions of hands these coins have passed through, from pocket change at gas stations to tips at diners, from piggy banks to vending machines. Yet out of all those billions of dimes circulating across the nation, only a select few stand out, untouched, undamaged, and perfect enough to capture the fascination of experts. That's the magic of numismatics. What seems ordinary to one person can be priceless to another. In the vast world of American coins, few are as easily overlooked yet as fascinating as the Roosevelt dime. Small in size, light in weight, and often ignored in pocket change, the dime carries a legacy that stretches back decades. But among all its modern issues, one particular coin stands out: the 2004 D Mint Mark Roosevelt dime. While most of these coins are worth just 10 cents, a few special examples have stunned collectors, commanding astonishing prices that leave people wondering how such a tiny coin could be worth a fortune. Today, we'll explore everything about this remarkable coin, the history behind the Roosevelt dime, the 2004 D Mint's special characteristics, the minting process, known varieties and errors, and the key factors that can make one of these dimes worth thousands of dollars. So stay tuned till the end, because you'll discover exactly why one of these coins sold for an unbelievable $29,763, a shocking figure for something that once jingled unnoticed in someone's change. Let's begin by understanding where the Roosevelt dime came from. The story of this coin starts in 1946, shortly after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, one of the most influential leaders in American history. Roosevelt had guided the nation through the Great Depression and World War II, and his efforts to support the March of Dimes, a campaign to fight polio, made him the perfect figure to appear on the 10-cent coin. The dime, after all, became a symbol of his legacy, representing hope, courage, and determination during tough times. The very first Roosevelt dimes were struck in 1946, replacing the Mercury dime. Since then, the design has remained largely unchanged, featuring Roosevelt's left-facing profile on the obverse, with the word Liberty above his head and the motto, "In God We Trust," below. The reverse shows a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, representing liberty, peace, and strength. Now, fast forward to 2004, a year that might seem too recent for a dime to be valuable. But coin collecting is not only about age, it's about rarity, errors, and condition. The 2004 Roosevelt dimes were produced at two mints, Philadelphia and Denver, with the Denver mint marking its coins with the letter D just to the right of the date on the obverse side. The Denver mint struck hundreds of millions of 2004 D Roosevelt dimes. At first glance, this makes the coin seem very common. But, as any experienced numismatist will tell you, even in huge mintages, rare varieties or high-grade examples can stand out dramatically. That's exactly what happened with this particular dime. Let's dive deeper into the minting details. The Denver Mint in 2004 used modern high-speed presses capable of producing thousands of coins per minute. Each dime was made from a clad composition, an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, giving the coin a silvery look but a reddish edge when viewed from the side. The total weight of the coin is 2.27 grams, with a diameter of 17.9 millimeters. But not all coins come out perfectly. Despite advanced machinery, errors can occur, and those errors are where collectors' excitement begins. For the 2004 D Roosevelt dime, several rare error types have been documented that make certain examples extremely valuable. One of the most striking errors found in 2004 D dimes is the off-center strike, where the design is not properly aligned on the coin's surface. Depending on how far off-center the strike is, such coins can range from a few dollars to hundreds, especially if the date and mint mark are still visible. Another famous error type is the double die obverse, where the design appears slightly duplicated, especially noticeable on the inscriptions like Liberty or In God We Trust. When collectors find these double details, they can command significant premiums. There's also a rare and fascinating clipped planchet error, in which part of the coin's edge appears cut off due to a misfeed during the blank cutting process. These are sought after for their distinctive crescent shape and often unique appeal. But the most valuable specimens are the ones in pristine, uncirculated condition, especially those graded by professional coin grading services such as PCGS or NGC.so. How can you tell if your 2004 D dime is worth more than 10 cents? The first thing you need to check is condition. Coins are graded on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70, with MS, mint state, grades representing uncirculated coins that have never been used in commerce. An MS-60 coin may still have marks and dull luster, while an MS-68 or MS-69 dime shines brilliantly and shows almost no imperfections under magnification. In the world of modern coin collecting, a difference of just one grade point can mean the difference between a few dollars and a few thousand. That's how precise the market has become. For example, a 2004 D dime graded MS-68 by PCGS might bring in a few $100s, but an MS-69, nearly flawless, can attract intense bidding wars among collectors. Collectors value these high-grade coins for their rarity and visual perfection. Only a tiny fraction of coins survive the minting, handling, and shipping process without scratches or contact marks. So, if you happen to find a 2004 D dime that looks unusually sharp and pristine, it might be worth sending for professional grading. Now, let's discuss another interesting factor: die varieties. Over time, even the metal dies used to strike coins can wear out, leading to subtle differences from one batch to another. Sometimes, a die is polished too much, resulting in missing details. Other times, small cracks form in the die, producing die cracks on the coins, raised lines or bumps that collectors find fascinating. The 2004 Roosevelt dime is known to have a few of these minor varieties, especially those with die chips on the torch or near Roosevelt's mouth. While minor varieties don't usually reach astronomical values, they make each coin unique, adding layers of intrigue to collecting. And then, there's the magic of rarity, the unpredictable factor that makes coin collecting so thrilling. Despite millions being made, the survival rate of perfect coins is surprisingly low. Many were used, worn, or damaged. Others were struck with slight imperfections, never noticed by the public. So, when a coin surfaces that combines rarity, perfection, and a touch of mystery, the price skyrockets. That's precisely what happened with one extraordinary 2004 Roosevelt dime that was discovered in near-perfect condition. When it appeared at auction, experts couldn't believe its sharpness and flawless luster. It had every detail crisp, from Roosevelt's hair to the tiny lettering around the rim, and not a single visible flaw under magnification. The bidding war that followed was nothing short of intense. Collectors from around the country competed to own this shining example of modern mint craftsmanship. After hours of excitement, the final hammer price stunned everyone. Before revealing that number, let's pause to reflect on why coins like this become so valuable. It's not only about metal or age, it's about history, craftsmanship, and rarity combined. Every coin tells a story of the mint workers who struck it, the technology of the time, the people who handled it, and the collectors who preserve it for future generations. So many of these coins are taken for granted. We spend them, drop them, lose them, and forget about them. Yet, hidden among billions, a single extraordinary piece can rise above the rest, a perfect survivor of time and chance. The 2004 Roosevelt dime is one such treasure. Though it may seem ordinary at first glance, its story proves that even the smallest coin can hold immense worth, both in history and in value. And finally, the most remarkable fact of all, one of these extraordinary 2004 mint mark Roosevelt dimes, preserved in immaculate mint state condition, sold for an astonishing $29,763. Yes, a single 10-cent coin. Worth nearly $30,000. That incredible price serves as a reminder to always check your change. You never know what you might be holding. A piece of American history that could change your life. So next time you see a 2004 dime with a tiny D mint mark, take a closer look. Examine it carefully under good lighting. If it gleams without scratches, if its edges are crisp and its details stand out sharply, it might be more than just spare change. Because somewhere out there, hiding in plain sight, could be the next treasure waiting to be discovered, another 2004 Roosevelt dime worth a fortune. Thanks for watching, and remember, every coin has a story, but some stories are worth far more than you'd ever imagine. Keep searching, keep collecting, and who knows, the next incredible find could be sitting right in the palm of your hand. In the world of American coins, there are some small, shining treasures that hold a story much greater than their size. One such coin is the 2013 mint mark Roosevelt dime, a piece that most people would pass off as ordinary pocket change, but for collectors and numismatists, this coin can be a rare gateway to fortune. Today, we'll take you on an incredible journey through the history, design, hidden varieties, and the shocking true value of the 2013 Roosevelt dime, a coin that could be sitting quietly in your drawer, purse, or old coin jar without you realizing its astonishing worth. So, sit back and watch closely, because by the end of this story, you might be tempted to check every dime you've ever come across, and for good reason. The Roosevelt dime has been a part of American currency since 1946. It was introduced as a tribute to Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, a man who led America through the Great Depression and most of World War II. He was also the driving force behind the March of Dimes, a campaign to fight polio, a disease that personally affected him. After his passing in 1945, the U.S. Mint decided to honor him with a new dime design, replacing the Mercury dime that had been in circulation for decades. Designed by John R. Sinek, the Roosevelt dime carries Roosevelt's left-facing profile on the obverse side, with the inscriptions, Liberty, and In God We Trust, along with the year of minting. On the reverse, you can see the iconic image of a torch flanked by an olive branch on one side and an oak branch on the other, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. The design has remained remarkably consistent for over 70 years, making it one of the most enduring designs in modern American coinage. But what makes the 2013 Roosevelt Dimes so intriguing is not just its design, it's the hidden variations, errors, and rare minting quirks that have made certain examples of this coin extremely valuable to collectors. The P. Mint mark stands for the Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and most respected mints in the United States. In 2013, millions of Roosevelt dimes were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, so you might think that finding a rare one is impossible. However, history has shown that even in large mintages, hidden treasures often slip through the cracks. Collectors have identified certain varieties and striking errors among 2013 Roosevelt dimes that dramatically increased their value. These include off-center strikes, double die obverse, full band details on the torch, and misaligned die errors that create a ghost-like appearance on Roosevelt's portrait. One of the most sought-after versions of the 2013 Roosevelt dime features what experts call a full torch, or full bands, detail. On the back of the dime, the torch's horizontal bands should appear sharply defined and fully separated. When a coin shows this level of detail, it indicates an exceptionally strong strike from fresh dies, something that collectors cherish deeply. Coins with full bands often fetch high prices, especially when they remain in pristine condition. The surface of the coin also plays a crucial role in determining value. Mint state coins, those that have never been in circulation and show no signs of wear, are the holy grail for collectors. A 2013 Roosevelt dime graded MS-67 or higher by PCGS or NGC can reach hundreds or even thousands of dollars in value. But the real excitement comes when we look at error coins. Minting errors are rare, unpredictable, and often fascinating. Among 2013 dimes, some have been discovered with missing layers, clipped planchets, or dramatic die cracks running through Roosevelt's face or the torch on the reverse. These striking mistakes make the coins visually unique, and collectors love them precisely because no two are exactly alike. Imagine finding a dime with a double image of Roosevelt's profile, a clear sign of a double die strike. Or spotting a coin that's been struck off-center, where part of the design is missing but the mint mark remains visible. These coins tell a story of imperfection in precision, a small but powerful reminder that even machines can create art accidentally. Now, let's talk about condition and grading, two essential factors that determine whether your coin is worth 10 cents or $10,000. Grading agencies like PCGS and NGC use a scale from 1 to 70, known as the Sheldon scale. The higher the grade, the closer the coin is to perfect mint condition. A typical circulated 2013 Roosevelt dime might fetch a few dollars if it's in excellent shape. But if it's graded MS-68 or higher, with a flawless shine and crisp details, its value skyrockets. Coins preserved straight from mint rolls, with no fingerprints, scratches, or blemishes, are the most desirable among collectors. Another reason why 2013 Roosevelt dimes have gained attention in recent years is due to the increase in interest in modern era coins. With advanced cameras, online coin marketplaces, and growing communities of collectors on social media, more people are discovering that everyday pocket change can hold hidden treasures. It's become almost a national pastime, searching through spare change to find that one coin with an odd color, doubled letters, or unusual strike. And believe it or not, some of the most valuable finds have been made by ordinary people who never thought twice about checking their coins. But beyond the technical details, there's something deeply symbolic about the Roosevelt dime. It represents courage, recovery, and perseverance, qualities that mirror Roosevelt's leadership during some of America's darkest times. Holding one feels like holding a small piece of that history in your hands. The year 2013 might not seem distant, but numismatically speaking, even coins just over a decade old can hold remarkable value if they meet the right conditions. Collectors who specialize in modern-era coins have been tracking certain production batches from Philadelphia that show exceptional die quality and rarity. In some rare instances, proof-like examples of the 2013 P dime have been found, coins that exhibit mirror-like surfaces even though they were struck for circulation. These are exceedingly uncommon and often command premium prices in the market. Now imagine discovering one of these rare 2013 P Roosevelt dimes in your own possession. You'd likely dismiss it as an ordinary dime at first glance, a small, silver-colored coin worth 10 cents. But upon closer inspection, under proper lighting or magnification, you might notice something different: a shine, a doubled edge, a perfect strike. That's when your heart starts racing, and the realization hits: this could be something special. Coin dealers and auction houses have reported cases where modern dimes with exceptional characteristics sold for staggering amounts at auctions. The demand for high-grade Roosevelt dimes has steadily grown, particularly those from the 2000s and 2010s. Many serious collectors are now paying premium prices for coins that once seemed too new to be valuable. This rise in modern coin appreciation is partly due to grading services certifying them in large numbers, allowing collectors to invest confidently knowing their coin's authenticity and condition are verified. So, what should you look for if you suspect you have a valuable 2013 P Roosevelt dime? Start by examining the coin's strike quality. Are the torch bands on the reverse sharply separated? Is Roosevelt's profile crisp, with no visible wear? Does the surface shine like a mirror, free from scratches? And most importantly, is there any sign of doubling or misalignment in the lettering? Even slight imperfections like die cracks, lamination errors, or off-center strikes can transform an ordinary coin into a collectible masterpiece. It's the thrill of discovery, the excitement of realizing that a coin you've handled countless times could actually be a hidden treasure. If you're lucky enough to find one in mint condition or with a striking error, you might want to have it graded professionally. Coin grading not only confirms authenticity but also significantly increases its market value. Many collectors prefer to send their rare coins to PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company. Once graded, your coin will be sealed in a protective holder that preserves its condition for years to come, and officially documents its grade and authenticity. After grading, the next step is understanding the market. Rare 2013 P dimes have been known to attract competitive bidding among collectors, especially at online auctions or numismatic expos. And as more collectors realize how scarce these perfect condition coins are, the prices continue to rise. The Roosevelt dime, small and unassuming, has quietly become one of the most collected coins in the United States. Its longevity, symbolism, and subtle varieties make it a favorite among hobbyists and professionals alike. Welcome back, dear viewers, to World Information HD, the place where hidden treasures from your pocket change come alive with unbelievable stories and jaw-dropping values. Today, we're diving deep into the story of a small but mighty coin, the United States of America 2016 D Roosevelt 1 dime. You might think this coin is ordinary, something you'd use every day without a second thought. But what if I told you that one of these small silver-colored dimes shocked collectors with its incredible worth? Yes, you heard that right. This humble coin that fits between your fingertips might be worth thousands of dollars. But before we reveal the unbelievable value, we're going to explore every detail about this coin, its design, history, errors, minting secrets, and what makes certain 2016 D Roosevelt dimes worth so much more than just 10 cents. So sit back, relax, and stay with me till the end, because you'll want to check your change drawer after this. Let's begin our fascinating journey with a little bit of history. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946, shortly after the passing of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt was not only one of America's most respected leaders but also a symbol of strength and perseverance during tough times, especially the Great Depression and World War II. His image on the dime wasn't chosen randomly. It was a heartfelt tribute because Roosevelt had a strong connection to the March of Dimes, a foundation created to fight polio, the very disease that affected him personally. Fast forward 70 years later, and we arrive at the 2016 D Roosevelt dime, a modern descendant of that legacy. The D mint mark stands proudly below the date, representing the Denver Mint in Colorado. This mint is known for producing billions of coins every year, but hidden among the billions are a few pieces that defy expectations and surprise collectors around the world. At first glance, the 2016 D dime seems ordinary. It's small, lightweight, and has a silvery shine. But let's break down its physical features for those who love details. The coin is made of a clad composition. That means it has a copper core sandwiched between two layers of a copper-nickel alloy. Its diameter is 17.91 millimeters, and it weighs about 2.27 grams. On the obverse side, we see the dignified portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt facing left, with the inscriptions Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust, the year 2016, and the tiny but significant mint mark D right beside his neck. On the reverse side, we find three powerful symbols: a torch in the center, symbolizing liberty, an olive branch on the left for peace, and an oak branch on the right for strength and independence. Together, they represent the enduring spirit of the United States: liberty, peace, and strength, three values Roosevelt himself embodied. Around these symbols, we read United States of America, e pluribus unum, and one dime. But while the design remains the same from year to year, it's the little differences, the errors, varieties, and conditions, that can make one dime worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Now, let's talk about why 2016 D dimes have caught so much attention in recent years. Although billions were struck at the Denver Mint, a few of them came out with unusual characteristics. Coin collectors, or numismatists as they're known, are always on the hunt for rare varieties that escape the Mint's strict quality control. One of the most fascinating varieties spotted in the 2016 D Roosevelt Dimes series is the double die error. This happens when the coin die, the metal stamp that imprints the design, shifts slightly during the minting process, creating a doubled image. If you take a magnifying glass and look closely at the inscriptions like Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust, or the date 2016, you might see a faint doubling effect. Such coins are prized because they are literal minting mistakes, unique and one of a kind. Another intriguing discovery comes from coins that show die cracks or die chips, small raised bumps or lines on the surface of the coin caused by a worn or damaged die. These imperfections might seem minor, but they add character and rarity. Some collectors are willing to pay surprisingly high prices for coins showing these visible signs of minting anomalies. Then there's the off-center strike, one of the most dramatic mint errors. This happens when the coin blank isn't perfectly aligned under the die during striking, resulting in a design that appears shifted to one side. Some off-center 2016 D Roosevelt dimes, with about 10 to 15% of the design missing, have been auctioned for hundreds of dollars because of how rare and visually striking they are. But error coins aren't the only ones that fetch attention. The condition of the coin also plays a massive role in determining its value. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC use a scale called the Sheldon scale, which ranks coins from 1, poor, to 70, perfect mint state. A 2016 D dime that has been preserved in MS68 or MS69 condition, meaning it has flawless surfaces, sharp details, and perfect luster, can command an astonishing premium at auctions. Why? Because even though billions were minted, most dimes circulate, get scratched, or lose their shine. Finding a perfectly struck coin without a single mark is incredibly rare. Let's put that into perspective. Out of hundreds of millions of 2016 D dimes, only a handful have ever been certified in near-perfect grades. Those are the ones collectors dream of owning, and the ones that bring the most money. Now, here's a fascinating story for coin enthusiasts. In 2019, a collector in Texas was sorting through a roll of uncirculated dimes he got from the bank. He noticed that one particular dime shimmered differently under the light. The strike was unusually sharp, and the finish had a mirror-like appearance. Upon closer inspection, experts confirmed that the coin was a special early die strike, one of the very first struck by a new die before it wore down. Because of its extraordinary sharpness and proof-like finish, that dime sold for a remarkable price during a collector's auction, a strong reminder that attention to detail can lead to unexpected fortune. So how do you know if you have a valuable 2016 D Roosevelt dime? It all comes down to three things: Errors, condition, and rarity. First, check for errors using a good magnifying glass. Look closely at the lettering, the torch flame, and Roosevelt's face. Any doubling, cracks, or misalignments could mean you're holding something valuable. Second, consider the condition. Coins that have never circulated and still have their original mint luster, the shiny, fresh from the mint appearance, are the ones that attract collectors the most. If your dime is clean, free from scratches, and looks nearly perfect, it's worth having it graded by a professional. Lastly, rarity is key. Sometimes, even without visible errors, coins can be worth a fortune simply because very few survive in top condition. The combination of rarity and demand creates shocking prices in the collector's market. It's fascinating how something as small as a dime can carry such big stories, from the history of a beloved president to the technical marvel of modern minting, and from simple pocket change to coins worth thousands. Many people today still ignore their change jars, unaware that a small piece of metal could hold immense value. Some of the rarest Roosevelt dimes have been found in circulation, dropped in vending machines, hidden in old jars, or forgotten in dresser drawers. Imagine finding one in your pocket and realizing it's worth more than a brand new car. Now, let's not forget to appreciate the artistry behind this coin. The portrait of Roosevelt was designed by John R. Sinek, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint at the time. His initials, J.S., appear at the base of Roosevelt's neck. Interestingly, when the coin was first released in 1946, some people mistakenly believed those initials stood for Joseph Stalin, leading to wild rumors during the Cold War. Of course, the truth was far simpler. They were simply Sinek's initials. But it shows just how much attention this little coin has commanded throughout history. Over the decades, the Roosevelt dime has remained one of the most trusted coins in U.S. currency. It survived the end of the silver era in 1965, the rise of modern minting technology, and even the shift toward digital transactions. Yet, its design has stood firm, timeless, meaningful, and instantly recognizable. And here's something interesting for new collectors. Because dimes are small and affordable to collect, they're often the starting point for people entering the world of numismatics. Many begin with Roosevelt dimes, studying mint marks, years, and errors before moving on to other coins. The 2016 D dime, though recent, has already started to build its reputation among enthusiasts as one to watch. So, the next time. In the vast world of American coin collecting, few coins go unnoticed quite like the Roosevelt dime. It's a small, lightweight coin that most people pass around daily without giving it a second glance. But what if I told you that one of these tiny pieces of change, specifically a 2017 D Mint Mark Roosevelt dime, could be worth thousands of dollars? Yes, that's right. A coin that most people wouldn't hesitate to drop into a vending machine could actually make you a small fortune if you happen to find the right one. Let's dive deep into the fascinating story, hidden details, and unbelievable value of the 2017 D Roosevelt dime, and explore why collectors across the United States are hunting for this coin with growing excitement. The Roosevelt dime has been a staple in U.S. currency since 1946. It was first issued to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his passing, recognizing his leadership through the Great Depression and World War II, and his contribution to the March of Dimes Foundation, which fought to end polio. Designed by John R. Sinek, the dime features Roosevelt's portrait on the obverse, facing left, with the word, Liberty, boldly inscribed beside him. Below the chin sits the motto, In God We Trust, and just beneath Roosevelt's neck is the designer's initials, J.S. Now, if you look closely at a 2017 Roosevelt dime, you'll notice a small letter near the date. That's the mint mark. The letter, D, stands for the Denver Mint, where the coin was produced. The United States Mint has multiple facilities, but the Denver Mint has a reputation for producing billions of coins annually. Still, not all coins are created equal, and even within the same mint, striking errors or variations can make a single dime worth thousands. The 2017 D dime is made of a copper-nickel clad composition. It weighs 2.27 grams, measures 17.9 millimeters in diameter, and features reeded edges. On the reverse side, you'll find three main symbols: a torch, representing liberty, an olive branch, symbolizing peace, and an oak branch, representing strength and independence. Together, these symbols perfectly capture the spirit of post-war America: liberty, peace, and strength. At first glance, the 2017 Roosevelt dime might not look much different from any other dime you've handled. But here's the twist. Certain rare examples of this coin contain minting errors or unique characteristics that have captured the attention of collectors and auction houses alike. These special coins can command prices that seem unbelievable for something worth just 10 cents in your pocket. So, what makes the 2017 dime so valuable? Let's explore the key factors that determine its worth. The first and most obvious factor is condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a perfect, flawless coin. Most dimes in circulation have scratches, wear marks, or dull surfaces due to handling. But if you have a 2017 Roosevelt dime that has never been used, what collectors call mint state, MS, condition, then you might be holding something far more valuable than spare change. For example, a 2017 Roosevelt dime graded MS 68 or higher can fetch impressive amounts of money because of its rarity in such pristine condition. Professional grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, authenticate and grade coins, which helps determine their market value. A high-grade dime with perfect luster, sharp strike, and no visible marks becomes a collector's dream. However, the most exciting aspect of the 2017 dime lies not just in its grade, but in the mint errors that sometimes occurred during production. These errors make a coin one of a kind. For instance, a double die verse DDO can cause the date or lettering on the front to appear slightly doubled, which collectors find highly desirable. Another rare type is the off-center strike, where the image is not perfectly aligned during minting, leaving part of the coin blank. Even a missing clad layer, when part of the metal composition doesn't fully bond during minting, can dramatically increase the coin's value. There are also known instances of die cracks or cuds, where the die used to stamp the coin develops fractures. This causes raised lines or blobs of metal on the coin's surface. Each of these unique imperfections turns a common dime into a rare collectible. But how can you tell if your dime might be special? Here's what to look for. First, examine the edges. A normal 2017 dime has a clean, perfectly centered reeded edge. If your coin has an uneven or partially missing edge, it might have been struck improperly. Next, use a magnifying glass to inspect the date, mint mark, and lettering. Look for signs of doubling, faint outlines, or ghost-like images of the numbers. You should also check for missing elements. For example, if the "In God We Trust" or "E Pluribus Unum" looks faded or incomplete, that could indicate a striking error. Finally, pay close attention to the surface and color of the coin. A missing clad layer can make the coin appear coppery or discolored on one side. Now, let's talk about what collectors love most: the hunt. Many coin enthusiasts have turned to coin roll hunting, searching through rolls of dimes from banks or change jars, in hopes of finding these hidden treasures. Imagine the thrill of discovering that one dime worth more than your entire collection. Interestingly, the 2017 dime was minted in massive quantities. Over 1.2 billion were produced. This sheer volume makes the discovery of rare errors or flawless coins even more thrilling because the odds of finding one are so small. It's like winning a miniature lottery in the world of coin collecting. What also makes this particular dime intriguing is that modern coins aren't typically associated with high values. Most people think valuable coins are the older ones, the silver dimes from the early 1900s, or the mercury dimes from before 1946. But modern coins like the 2017 Roosevelt dime prove that even recently minted coins can surprise collectors. The key is in the details. And those details are what make numismatics such a fascinating hobby. Some collectors speculate that the 2017 dime may also hold future potential as the years go by. Coins from the 2000s onward are being collected more seriously than ever before, as the minting process continues to evolve and quality control remains an ongoing challenge. Small minting variations that might go unnoticed today could become significant in decades to come. So, let's imagine this scenario. You're at home, sorting through loose change, and you spot a shiny dime dated 2017 with a tiny D beneath the date. You flip it over and notice something odd. Maybe the design seems slightly misaligned, or the torch on the back looks thicker than usual. Before tossing it into your coin jar, take a closer look. That tiny imperfection could mean the difference between 10 cents and thousands of dollars. Collectors and appraisers suggest keeping such coins in protective holders or coin flips to prevent further damage. Even a small scratch can lower a coin's grade and reduce its value. If you think your dime might be special, send it to a grading service for evaluation. Once graded and certified, your coin's value could multiply instantly. The market for Roosevelt dimes is also highly active online. Auction platforms such as eBay, Heritage Auctions, and Great Collections frequently list high-grade or era dimes that sell for incredible prices. Some coins that started at 10 cents have sold for thousands once collectors recognize their rarity. As of recent records, a few known 2017 Roosevelt dimes with exceptional condition and striking errors have made headlines among collectors. The excitement lies in the rarity, the mystery, and the constant hope that another hidden gem is still out there waiting to be discovered in someone's change jar or piggy bank. Remember, when it comes to coin collecting, knowledge is power. Understanding what to look for gives you the upper hand. Keep your eyes open, handle your coins carefully, and learn the subtle details that separate an ordinary coin from a fortune-making one. Now, as you continue to explore your own coin collection or pocket change, let's recap the important points. The 2017 Roosevelt dime, though modern and common at first glance, can hold immense value due to high mint state condition, MS67 or higher, rare mint errors such as double die, off-center strikes, or missing clad layers clean. Sharp details with no scratches or discoloration, proper certification from trusted grading services. These factors together can transform a regular dime into a collector's prize. In the end, the world of coin collecting reminds us of a simple truth: sometimes, the smallest things hold the greatest worth. A single dime, just 10 cents in your pocket, can represent history, art, craftsmanship, and value beyond imagination. The 2022 Roosevelt dime is one of those fascinating modern coins that many people overlook, yet it hides an incredible story of minting precision, unexpected errors, and surprising collector demand. Though it is a small 10-cent piece, this coin has captured the attention of numismatists across the United States, especially due to rare varieties that can make it worth thousands of dollars today. Let's dive deep into the history, value, and details that make the 2022 Roosevelt dime a must-check coin hiding in plain sight. The Roosevelt dime has been in circulation since 1946, replacing the Mercury dime that was used during the early 20th century. It was designed by John R. Sinek to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his passing in 1945. His leadership during the Great Depression and World War II made him one of the most respected presidents in American history, and his image on the dime became a tribute to his creation of the March of Dimes, a campaign that helped fight polio, a disease Roosevelt personally struggled with. Fast forward to the modern era, the Denver Mint, represented by the letter D on the coin, has continued producing Roosevelt dimes with incredible precision. However, as technology and minting processes advanced, so did the possibilities for unusual errors and collectible varieties. The 2022 Roosevelt dime became especially interesting to collectors when reports started surfacing of unusual die clashes, double die obverse, and weak strikes. Some coins showed ghost-like doubling on Roosevelt's profile, while others had slight misalignments that made them rare minting anomalies. These mint errors are what push an ordinary 10-cent coin into the world of numismatic treasures. In 2022, over 1 billion Roosevelt dimes were struck at the Denver Mint, but only a handful displayed the unique characteristics that collectors crave. As collectors began examining their pocket change, certain era dimes began trading on online marketplaces for eye-catching amounts. Many hobbyists initially ignored these dimes, assuming modern coins have no real value. However, experts soon revealed that pristine, high-grade examples graded by companies such as PCGS or NGC can command hundreds or even thousands of dollars, especially those graded MS68 or higher. These grades mean the coin has a flawless surface, strong strike, and perfect luster, attributes that make modern coins extremely desirable. A special note should also be made about the metal composition. The 2022 D Roosevelt dime is composed of a copper-nickel clad layer, which gives it that bright silver shine. While it's not made of silver like earlier Roosevelt dimes before 1965, its sharp design and modern finish have made it a stunning example of modern minting quality. What makes the 2022 D dime fascinating is that it serves as a bridge between the tradition of American craftsmanship and modern minting technology. Collectors often seek out full torch designations, a term used when the lines and bands on the torch on the reverse side are sharply struck and fully visible. Coins with full torch details are much rarer and therefore command much higher prices. The demand for full torch designations has significantly increased since 2022, with many collectors competing for the top-graded examples. What's even more exciting is how small minting variations can drastically change a coin's market value. For example, a minor double die on the word liberty, or I in God we trust, could increase the value tenfold. Similarly, any off-center strike or planchet flaw adds rarity and demand. The Denver Mint is known for high-quality control, so finding these errors is like finding a hidden treasure in your change jar. Beyond minting errors, historical and cultural context also adds to the charm of this coin. The Roosevelt dime remains a tribute to one of America's most influential presidents. For over 7 decades, his face has appeared on the dime, symbolizing hope, determination, and national progress. Even in the age of digital payments, the dime remains a powerful reminder of American resilience. As the collector market continues to evolve, coins from recent years like the 2022 D dime are gaining traction among younger collectors who grew up during this era. Social media and online coin forums have brought new attention to these modern issues, helping them achieve remarkable value in auctions. Collectors who understand that today's circulating coins are tomorrow's rare treasures are the ones benefiting the most. If you happen to have a 2022 D Roosevelt dime, here are a few tips. First, check for any minting errors using a magnifying glass. Look closely at Roosevelt's eye, hair, and the lettering on both sides of the coin. Examine the torch on the reverse for sharpness and clarity. If the coin appears flawless or has an unusual feature, avoid cleaning it and get it professionally graded. Even small variations can make a massive difference in value. High-grade examples in uncirculated condition have been selling for impressive prices, especially those certified as mint state perfection by professional grading services. While most 2022 D Roosevelt dimes are worth only face value, a few rare examples have reached shocking figures in the numismatic market. Collectors have reported that exceptional examples with rare mint errors and flawless surfaces have been valued as high as $4,187. Yes, you heard that right. This modern 10-cent piece, when rare enough and in perfect condition, can reach a value of $4,187 in today's collector market. So, next time you come across a 2022 D Roosevelt dime, don't underestimate it. That small piece of metal might be hiding a fortune. Check your pocket change, inspect your coin rolls, and who knows, you might just be holding one of the most valuable modern dimes ever minted.